What is in an electric car's battery box? Batteries is an obvious answer, and if that's all you want to know, then you can stop watching the video now. However, big automotive companies are spending $1 billion or more per car to develop them, and they're putting a whole bunch of magic into their battery systems. Right, this is a quick component overview, and it's your chance to learn for free what they had to spend billions and millions to figure out. My name is Janosch. I built 3 custom electric cars, and so let's get into it. Right. Big auto manufacturers build cars and they spend a lot of money and a lot of time. Let's learn what they put in the battery boxes and why they put these things in. We've got 10 items today. Number 1, you're going to find battery cells. Number 2, you're going to find some sort of thermal management. Number 3, you're going to find a current sensor. Number 4, which is the battery management system. Number 5, you're going to find 3 contactors. Number 6, you will find bus bars and cables. Number 7, you will find a safety disconnect. Number 8, you're going to find a high voltage fuse. Number 9, you're going to find something called a ferrite. And number 10, of course, all of this is in the box. And we're going to start with number 1. Yes, you were, of course, right? There are batteries in the battery box. In a typical electric car, you will have maybe like 40 or 46 or 45 of those in parallel in the pack, and 96 or 192 in series. If you have pouch cells, you typically have 3 to 4 of those in parallel. Battery cells are optimized for 4 different things: weight, power density, cost, and charge speed. Number 2, you're going to have some sort of thermal management. What does that mean? You're going to have a heater or a fan or some sort of air conditioning in there. I thought this was mildly surprising. A fan or air conditioning I could see. Heater I thought was surprising. If battery cells are too cold, they want to be preheated before a charge being taken out of them or before they're being charged heavily. Essentially, they're there to keep the battery cells in their happy zone, all right? Number 3, you're going to find a current sensor in the battery pack. Current sensor is figuring out at any given moment how much energy is being put into the pack or how much energy is taken out of the pack. The current sensor is important later on to limit the motor or to limit charging and stuff. It's essentially a reporting device to enable safety checks. Number 4, the battery management system. The battery management system is a key component in any electric car's battery system, battery box, or for solar installations. You're not going to have any lithium batteries anywhere if they're being put together without a battery management system. What does it do? It monitors temperature, it monitors voltage, and it aggregates that data and does some calculations and reports it to the rest of the system. It says things such as, oh, please don't charge me harder than 50 kilowatt right now because I'm too hot, or please don't discharge me harder than 20 kilowatts because I'm almost empty. Sometimes a battery management system will have the ability to disconnect the battery pack if it finds it's not in a safe state anymore, it's not being listened to. How does it do that? Number 5, contactors. I've got some contactors here. There's 2 contactors, one for high voltage plus and one for high voltage minus. Essentially, they're big switches or big relays that can, you can hear them clunking in at a rapid charger or something. Once the charger's engaged, you hear like some clicking. I already lied to you. There's 3 of them and not 2. What's the third one for? The third one goes through a resistor first, and you can think of it as opening a tap slowly to level something out before opening the floodgates. Water metaphors often break down, but in this case it works. So the contactors can be controlled by the battery management system or by an external control system of the vehicle. Which brings us, we're halfway through, to number 6. You will find bus bars. Bus bar is a fancy word of saying you have a stiff or rigid piece of copper that is connecting battery modules inside your battery box. You will find bus bars rather than cables. I don't know why bus bars are preferred to cables in a battery system or in a battery box. I've got 3 theories. One is maybe they're better at dissipating heat. Number 2 is maybe they're cheaper than cables. And number 3, vibration. I think the rigidness has got something to do with avoiding vibration. You will also find cables inside a battery box, but for some reason the main modules, the main cells, are connected with bus bars. I don't know why. Anyway, that brings us to number 7, the safety disconnect. It is nearly over, so bear with me. The safety disconnect is about halfway through pack. If you've got 96 cells at cell number 48 and 49, you will have a switch or something that you can open. This is for first responders, i.e. police, fire brigade, to make the car safe safe before they do the evacuation. One little thing about the safety disconnect, it typically has an interlock to make sure it is in the car before you, with a little check where the car checks itself, is the safety disconnect plugged in? If yes, I'm happy to start. If no, I'm not going to start. Doesn't really matter day-to-day operation, but it is there and it is important. Number 8, the high voltage fuse. There's an important misconception here. The high voltage fuse is not going to save you when you touch the high voltage contacts. It's not going to pop. It will only pop after hundreds of amps flow through it for seconds and seconds and minutes. Unfortunately, any human or animal that would touch this would be long dead or long severely damaged by that point. What it is a last resort fire prevention mechanism. If you go on a heavy motorway acceleration or go to a rapid charge, hundreds of amps need to flow through the high voltage fuse anyway, right? It can't pop at small currents. It needs to really take something before it goes. So yes, there's a fuse in high voltage battery back boxes. No, it's not going to keep you safe if you touch anything. All right, second to last, ferrites. At the point where the high voltage plus and minus are leaving the battery box, you will find a little magnetic piece wrapped around them, and this is for electromagnetic noise repression. I talked to some electrical engineers about this. I looked at some formulas myself. It gets really complicated really quickly. Everything you want to remember, I think, is it is there to repress the electrical noise, and that's called a ferrite, and it turns electrical noise into heat. And for some reason, it needs to be in the battery box. You notice this is getting quite hazy. It is really complicated. If you want to do a PhD, do one and tell me how ferrites really work, because I don't know. But you should know that they exist. All right, and the last one, 10. The battery box itself. It's got some important properties, and mainly it needs to be waterproof, crash-proof, and safe to handle. One other thing to mention, when the high voltage connectors are disconnected, or some of the low voltage connectors are disconnected as well, there are little things called interlocking circuits on every connector that check essentially if everything is plugged in, and they only allow the car to operate or the high voltage power system to deliver power. Everything that needs to be plugged in actually is plugged in. Quickly, to recap, you're going to find battery cells. Number 1, you're going to find some sort of thermal management, a heater or fan or some air conditioning. Number 2. Number 3, you're going to find a current sensor. This current sensor will report into number 4, which is the battery management system. Number 5, you're going to find 3 contactors, which enable the battery system to isolate the high voltage and enable something called precharging, which is opening the tap slowly before opening the floodgates. Number 6, you will find bus bars and cables. Number 7, you will find a safety disconnect. Number 8, you're going to find a high voltage fuse. Number 9, you're going to find something called a ferrite, which is there to suppress electrical noise. And number 10, of course, all of this is in the box that needs to be crash-proof, waterproof, and has some interlocking systems around it. And that's all there is to it. I hope this video was helpful and gave you a very quick high-level overview. And that's it. Thank you very much.